All right, let's talk about one of the biggest challenges for any new dev team. How in the world do you build something complex, say a digital twin, without constantly tripping over each other's work? Well, today we're going to map out the exact GitHub workflow that turns that potential chaos into seamless collaboration. This is the big question, right? You've got 5 smart people all writing code at the same time, all trying to build one single thing. How do you make sure it all comes together in the end without, everything catching on fire? That's exactly what we're going to solve right now. Okay, let's dive right in. The absolute first rule of team coding is simple. Everybody works from the same playbook. And in our world, that playbook is your shared GitHub repository. So let's meet our pretend digital twin team and see exactly how they get this started.
So here's our crew. We've got Priya, our data engineer, Ben, who's handling the user interface, and Maria, who's leading the team and handling testing. They all have totally different jobs, but their code has to work together perfectly. So Maria, as the team lead, is about to take the first and most important step. She just goes to GitHub and creates one single new repository. This is it. This is home base, the single source of truth for the entire project. She gives it a super clear name like Digital Twin Project. And then, and this is key, she adds Priya and Ben as collaborators. Boom. Now they all have the keys to the same house.
And get this isn't just a friendly suggestion. For a lot of professional projects, it's a non-negotiable rule. The project requirements will spell it out just like this. And why? Because it forces everyone to truly collaborate and gives you one clean, verifiable history of who did what.
Okay, so the repo is set up. Now the real work begins. We're going to follow Priya as she gets ready to tackle her first assignment. And her journey actually starts not in GitHub, but in their project management tool, which is ClickUp.
This ClickUp board is all about visibility. The whole team can see at a glance what's going on. Maria's done with the database, Ben is up next with the UI, and Priya, well, she's about to start on the data retrieval tool. So she grabs her ticket and drags it over to In Progress. That's the signal to everyone. I'm starting on this now. Now, this right here is the magic of working safely together. It's called branching. Just think of the main project as the final finished movie that everyone sees. Before Priya even writes one line of code, she creates her own branch. It's like her personal editing room. In there, she can experiment, make a mess, and perfect her scene without any risk of ruining the main movie. And how she names that branch is so important. A name like Priya's work, useless. It tells nobody anything. But a great name, like feature/PRI123-RAG tool, that tells us everything. We know it's a feature, we have the ticket ID right from ClickUp so we can trace it, and we know exactly what it's about. This is how pros stay organized. So here's the crucial habit. As Priya is coding, she doesn't just work for hours and then save everything at the end. No, she commits her code frequently. Each commit is like a little checkpoint in a video game. If she makes a mistake or goes down the wrong path, she can easily just load her last checkpoint. It's a lifesaver. And here's the best part. You don't have to be some command line genius to do any of this. The tools we have today are amazing. Inside your code editor, like VS Code, you can literally just type a comment to an AI assistant, like GitHub Copilot, and say, hey, commit my latest changes, and it'll do all the heavy lifting for you. Okay, so Priya's done. She's built her feature and her private little branch, and it works perfectly. So how does she get that amazing new code into the main project? The answer is the absolute heart of team collaboration, the pull request. A pull request, or a PR for short, is exactly what it sounds like. Priya is formally asking permission to pull her new code into the main branch. But it's so much more than that. It's an invitation for a conversation. It's the moment where Ben and Maria can look at her code, ask questions, and give it a thumbs up before it becomes an official part of the project. The second Priya opens that pull request, a whole bunch of things can happen automatically. Her ticket in ClickUp might move to the In Test column. Her teammate Ben will get a notification saying, hey, Priya's code is ready for you to review. Automated test will run to make sure she didn't accidentally break anything. Only after it passes all those checks, human and machine, can it get merged. Now, I get this question a lot from folks who are new to GitHub. Hey, why don't we just fork the repository? It sounds kind of similar, but it's fundamentally different. And for a small, tight-knit team like ours, branching is without a doubt the way to go. Let's look at why. This chart lays it all out. Branching happens inside your one shared repository. It's designed for your internal team to work together. Forking, on the other hand, creates a totally separate personal copy of the entire project. It's meant for contributors on the outside, like an open source who want to suggest a change. For your core team, forking just creates a mess. Stick to branches.
Eventually, it's going to happen. Ben and Priya are going to be working in their separate branches and accidentally edit the exact same line of code. When they try to merge their work, GitHub is going to throw up its hands and say, whoa, hold on, this is a merge conflict. And please, don't panic, it's not an error. It's just GitHub's way of saying, hey humans, I have two different instructions for this one line. You two need to talk and tell me which one is correct. And this brings us right back to that super important habit we talked about earlier. Committing your code often isn't just good practice, it actually makes resolving those conflicts way easier. Let's really hammer home why this is a developer's best friend. Seriously, every commit is your safety net. If an AI tool like Copilot writes some crazy code that breaks everything, no problem, just roll back to the last commit. If you get lost down a rabbit hole, just go back to a point where things worked. It also creates this beautiful step-by-step story of how a feature was built, which is invaluable for fixing bugs later on. So as we wrap this up, let's just zoom out for a second. This whole process we've walked through, from the ticket and ClickUp to the branch, the commits, the pull request, all the way to the final merge, this is about so much more than just keeping your files organized.
You'll often see a rule like this in project requirements, but it's not just about getting a good grade. This is a professional standard. A clean Git history is your proof. It's the undeniable evidence that you work together as a team and that everyone pulled their weight to create the final product.
And that's really the big takeaway here. This workflow is actually a framework for communication. It makes sure that everyone's on the same page, that quality is always being checked, and that all the progress is totally transparent. This is what turns a bunch of individual coders into a real, high-performing engineering team.
So there you have it. That's the blueprint for successful team collaboration. The process is clear, the tools are ready to help you, so the only real question left is, what amazing thing are you and your team going to build first?